here, all you had to do was to copy that graph onto your GDC, and then from that you're going to sketch and copy all the information down into the test paper. Now we know that we need to label all of the maximum or minimum points anywhere that it crosses the axis, and any of the points of interest like any asymptotes. So the first thing we're going to do is just to sketch this in our calculator. So we're going to introduce the fraction, and we have x minus 2 over, and then it's x cubed minus 1. And we can see when we graph this, we want to have our x-axis at -3 and 3. So we're going to go to our window, and we want this to be -3 to 3. And then for our y values, we want them to be negative. Now it looks like it's around -5. So -5 through to 5. And now we're going to find all the information before we sketch it. That would be my advice. So we're going to first of all find where does it cross the y-axis. So it crosses there at 2. So now we can go to our graph, and we can label on that it crosses at 0, 2. So that's our first coordinate. We can find any maximum or minimum points. So we have a minimum point here. So that minimum point is 0.442 and 1.7. So 0.442, 1.7, it's roughly around here. 0.442 to 3 significant figures, obviously, and then 1.71. And then we have a maximum point. So that's somewhere over here. So give yourself a nice clear window to find it. And this is -0.38 and 2.25. So somewhere around here. So -0.384 and 2.26. So that's my maximum point. So we have all of these different values. And from that, we can then start to sketch. Now, we should just check. It doesn't look like there is a 0 there, but we can just double check. So if we go right to the edge of our graph, no, it doesn't look like it. It's not happy with that. We can also check our table, and yep, you can see there the y value is never going to be 0 within our region. Now we need to check again here. We don't want to assume, so let's double check if there is a intersection with the axis. So we're going to look for a 0. So somewhere between here and right at the edge of our graph. And we find that yes, it does. So it actually crosses at 2 on the x-axis. So at 2, 0. And now we have all that information, we can sketch our curve. We should also just double check, does it have any asymptotes? Now, because the graph is a fraction, we know that it does have one, and the asymptote is when the denominator is equal to 0. So the denominator is x cubed minus 1. So when that equals to 0, we have an asymptote. So x cubed is equal to 1, in which case x is the cube root of 1. And if I type that into my calculator or numeric solve or whatever I need to do, we find that x is 1. So we actually have a asymptote here as well at the point x is equal to 1. So now we have all that information, we can sketch our curve. So it didn't cross the axis this time. It comes up to our maximum point, our minimum point, and then keeps to this asymptote. And then from the other side, it comes up from the asymptote, and then it slowly goes through to like this. So for this question, you have 1 mark for the shape. So 1 mark is for the shape. You have 1 mark for the maximum point, rounded correctly. 1 mark for the axis intercepts on both the x and the y, and 1 mark for the minimum point. So in total, that gives you 5 marks, and then the 6th mark is for recognizing that there is the asymptote and to label it. So that was 6 possible marks, and all we had to do there was just type that onto our calculator, set up our window, and then from there we can label all the information that we need.